Okay, we're rolling. Well, let's start this story with Climate Change 101. Long story short, life on our planet is kept warm enough to thrive due to polluting gases like carbon dioxide and methane, which knit together to make a pretty good blanket. The problem is that since the Industrial Revolution, we started really burning through our oil, gas, and coal reserves, drastically increasing the amount of these gases in our atmosphere. Flash forward to today, and according to the 2023 IPCC synthesis report, it is beyond doubt that the warming of the Earth's atmosphere, oceans, and surface results from human influence. This is how global warming got its name. Climate change, however, paints the picture of how changing temperatures and weather patterns are impacting, will impact, and have impacted regions around the world over time. Let's now focus on one particular country, Aotearoa, New Zealand. New Zealand has a temperate climate, which brings moderate to cool temperatures year-round based on where you are around the country. Future climate change will, therefore, impact regions around New Zealand in different ways. While we know broadly what the most exposed areas and impacts of climate change will be in New Zealand, more research is needed to better understand the finer details. One emergent area of research in this space looks at the impact of future climate change on New Zealand's biodiversity, which pretty much means everything that gives New Zealand its clean, green image. With this in mind, I've travelled to one of New Zealand's biodiversity hotspots, the beautiful Nelson Lakes National Park, to showcase what some of this research tells us. You're joining me now in one of the alpine ecosystems around the park. This mountainous ecosystem is known for its insect, lizard, bird, and plant diversity. In fact, in 2001, McLong et al. Estimated that around 93% of the plants that are found in this zone in New Zealand are found nowhere else around the world. Here in the Nelson region, future climate change projections predict high average yearly temperatures and decreasing snowfall and frost over time. These changes will impact alpine ecosystems through a process known as thermal squeeze. This squeeze occurs as warming temperatures allow the ranges of pest animals and plants to spread into this ecosystem and become more abundant. O'Donnell et al. Researched this topic in 2016 and found that increasing pest pressure in alpine ecosystems could seriously impact native insect and bird populations. Additionally, climate modelling by Halloy and Mark in 2003 suggests that increases in average temperature will lead to the extinction of a variety of native alpine plants in this ecosystem. However, a lack of research in this ecosystem impacts our understanding of when and if these changes will occur alongside future climate change projections. I'm now down here by Lake Lotuiti, one of the pristine lakes here in Nelson Lakes National Park. Lakes like this are considered indirectly vulnerable to the effects of climate change. Indirect vulnerability refers to the cascading and related impacts of climate change, as opposed to direct climate change impacts such as drought and flooding. For instance, in 2013, Hamilton et al. Identified threats like the increasing impacts of invasive species, as well as sedimentation and nutrient increases in lakes as indirect, cascading impacts of climate change in New Zealand. While deep lakes like Lake Lotuiti may be less susceptible to these changes, the combination of direct and indirect climate impacts will affect this ecosystem and the life it supports to a currently unknown extent in the future. My final stop is here in a beech forest ecosystem, which makes up a significant portion of New Zealand's remaining native forest. Beech trees play a key role in this ecosystem through massed seeding and the honeydew that they exude, which supports a range of native bird and insect populations. Massed seeding refers to the mass production of seeds from beech trees, which happens every 2 to 6 years and is driven by variability in summer air temperature averages. In a review article published in 2021 by McInnes et al., the authors conclude that while uncertainty exists, future climate change in New Zealand could potentially impact massed seeding frequency. If such changes did occur, they would be significant for this ecosystem, as massed seeding massively increases pest animal populations and consequently significantly decreases native bird populations. Beech forests are also susceptible to direct climate change impacts like droughts, heat waves, and wildfires, which, according to projections from NIWA in 2015, are likely to increase to various degrees for the Nelson region. So yeah, future climate change will both create and enhance a range of problems facing New Zealand's biodiversity, which will be seen within the next 80 years. And the reality is that we simply don't know enough about these problems or the funding to understand them all better, which for nature lovers like me is a scary fact. In saying that, I believe that a New Zealand exists where we not only better understand the natural world around us, but take effective global action today to minimize the most severe impacts of climate change on New Zealand and around the world. While everybody watching this video has a role to play in this dream, I'm not letting a day go by without being grateful for the clean, green New Zealand I call home today.